And hello, everyone. Welcome to my sixth competitive tournament this year, just a regular tournament. Eve just joined last minute, so we will be switching to a double elimination instead of a round robin. Let me just go ahead and do that right now. So that means, for those who are unaware, that you'll be fighting best of three matches, not just one. 7 flags, you guys know the drill, just the standard sort of format. No fancy like point scored or anything crazy like that. Just win your fight. That's all you gotta focus on. Fighting with victors here, Chernobyl's here, beautiful. And Eve is in the tournament, so we can start. If anyone wants to join last minute, this is the last call. But at this point, I'll hit start tournament, and I think we'll just roll through. Yeah, so again, you guys know the drill, 7 flags, best of three. And this goes for the losers bracket as well. You do get to fight a best of three match there as well. It's not like Venator's tournament where he does it a little bit differently, where it's often best of one. We're doing best of three here, especially since our numbers are good, but not astronomically high or anything like that. And speaking of Eve, Eve will be fighting Julian for the first fight here. Unfortunately, you guys have to fight that one extra match, but at least you're getting it out of the way. It's just how it is. We have an odd number of participants, so somebody had to end up there. It's almost like Chalon just punishing Eve for showing up slightly late, but I don't mind. It's obviously not a big deal. Let me get in the commentator chat while we get both of these fighters in. Gotta love this elevator music. Beautiful. And if anyone wants to commentate, let me know as well. Anybody can join. And it looks like they're both here. Let me just double check those sides. Julian, you'll be on the left, Eve on the right, so it's very convenient. Just gotta change my name out of there. And we're just gonna boot up the game and get started. Had a little connection hiccup, it looked like, right at the intro. The music, at least for me, seemed to freeze briefly. But the connection is back to normal now, so hopefully that's not a sign of anything to come. I don't think it is, but we'll see. Yeah, so we'll be switching sides every round too. It's not like a round robin where you just stay in the same side. So Julian on the left, Eve on the right. Let me know if you need keyboard Julian. I don't think you do, but just let me know. Excellent. Eve going with Calc, which is one of his mains. That's actually not surprising. Julian may be unsure who to pick against Steve. This is a tough opponent, so don't blame him for giving it some thought here. Julian can play quite a few characters. He seems a little unsure of who he wants to main at the moment, but he's got some fundamentals. He just needs to get some experience under his belt. He's put on some good performances before. Keep your sword straight. It's funny since a bunch of them are curved in this game. Samuel, okay. Void map, of course. We're not doing anything special with the maps, just to keep things running smooth. And I think this map is the right size for this sort of competitive competition. So we're just using the regular map that we like using. In a perfect world, we could use a bunch of the other maps, but sometimes you get like slight FPS slowdowns and stuff, and it's kind of rough for the other guy on Parsec sometimes. So They both trade hits here. That's another trade of hits, which I don't think is very good for Eve's stamina. Calc is a bit of an old man, so he doesn't like getting injured. Good engagement between these two so far, though, I have to say. Stab, sidestep, cut, and that's a double. Coming under if that false edge cut. Yes, curved swords. That's another double. Stab there from Eve doesn't quite connect. He's kind of harassing the guard a little bit, testing the waters. Not overextending there like he almost did, but he feinted, I think, in order to block. Good exchange. Julian playing pretty solid, I have to say. He's making Eve work for his victory, but he did score the first one. And that's I think Julian's Samuel is actually one of his better characters, so I'm glad he picked Samuel. As we're seeing here, Eve is having to really play solid himself in order to stay ahead and utilize that experience that he has. Good retreat there after the stab failed, and a snap cut to the head, punishing that stab that was aimed at the body. Good try from Julian. I think the move is just a little bit slow relative to that snap cut, which is very good at punishing stabs. And Eve going for the trade this time. Calc's damage is actually pretty good. It's not the best, but sometimes you can be surprised by how hard he actually hits. He definitely hits harder than Samuel, I would say. He's not like a Laszlo or anything like that, but his damage is fine. Lately, ooh, and that back X is actually pretty dangerous. It forced a double. And Calc just had his arm break there, it looked like, as well as having the hand cut off. Upcut there. Upcut again. Single tempo from Eve. That was beautiful. And Eve needs one more. This will actually be a very convincing victory for Eve in the first round at the rate things are going, despite the fight that Julian's putting up. Eve is just, he's sticking to fundamentals. There's Julian's first flag. Eve is sticking to fundamentals and throwing in some creative moves here and there. Really playing this perfectly against somebody who's trying to stay solid. There's the upcut again, a nice single tempo move that Eve likes using. Okay. Let's switch sides. Julian still gets another shot. It's not over. RT to switch sides, of course. There we go. Let's see if Julian changes anything up. Okay, same picks. I mean, Julian was doing pretty good with Samuel, so that does make sense. Connection seems very smooth so far. I also tested the speed before this stream and it looked good. That's why I wasn't terribly concerned about the one hiccup we had, because it's not happening again, so that could have been a lot of things, but I don't think there was anything to be concerned about. It also could have just been my phone being weird, so I don't even know if anyone else noticed. One this time. Julian very much in the fight this round. Big cut from Julian into the sidestep, but Eve is ready for it. Going for that sidestep false edge cut, which is actually really dangerous. One of Samuel's most threatening moves. There's a hit to the leg, hampering Eve's mobility. Parry riposte game. Nice exchange between these two, and it's a double after all of that. Eve looking for a nice angle against Samuel. Samuel's guard is definitely one of the best in the game. Arguably the best. Yazert's the only competition he has in that department. Even the shields don't guard nearly as well as Samuel does. Nice upcut. Despite the guard there, dashing in there makes your guard much weaker to non-existent. Especially if you don't press back. You basically have no chance of defending, so... A bit of a mistake there by Julian, but still in the fight. I think he was planning a grab or something. He was planning some kind of attack. I don't think he was just dashing in for nothing. But Eve was quicker on the draw. There's a nice upcut again. It seems to do a good job of claiming space and displacing incoming attacks. That stab somehow not connecting. Eve's probably a little surprised by that. That Samuel's guard for you. Sometimes weird stuff like that happens, but it was also very close, so it was bound to be a little messy, but nevertheless, a little surprising. Sidestep stab there doesn't connect. Julian doing very well. I think showing us that despite the score of the last round, Julian still has some really solid fundamentals. I think Eve was just really on his game. I think that's all that was. It's not a matter of Julian not putting up a fight. Good stab, cancel into upcut just in case his opponent replied with something. In that case he didn't, but that was a really nice preemptive move from Eve. That's a nice combo too, the B cut and the X cut. I've played Calc from time to time. I don't really play him in tournaments or anything, but I do know his moveset pretty well by now. And when you play him perfectly, he's so stylish. Stab there. And Eve doing a great job of managing his stamina. Even when he's been hit, you haven't seen him get tired. You really wouldn't know that Calc struggles with that, the way Eve plays Calc. Very solid stamina management. Snap cut attempt. They're both trying to snipe each other's hands. Or to provoke each other. Single tempo attempt from Eve, but that is the risk sometimes. The risk is that you can end up striking each other at the same time instead of getting a clear counter. But I like that Eve's doing that. He's really threatening his opponent with angles that even Samuel can struggle to defend. Nice. Cancel the recovery into that attack. Very good fundamental calc play from Eve, but I have to say that Julian also put up a great fight, despite what the score says. And Julian, you're not out of the tournament yet, as it is double elimination, so stick around and keep playing like that, and you still got a chance to climb your way up. Now we've got Luck against 3C, who we don't see a lot in tournaments, but I'm really excited to see what he can do. Much newer player, I believe. Definitely not as experienced. Somebody's chatting in commentator chat. Hang on. Oh, okay. I guess we fixed that. Thank you for trying to let me know, though. You can chat in competition talks. I'm much more likely to see it there. Yeah, still appreciate it, though. I just didn't see the ping when we were in game. Okay, 3C, let me know if you need keyboard or anything like that. And I see your message, Turk. Thank you for letting me know. Unfortunately, Turk is not able to show up, but it's not a big deal. I guess Info will just get a free win, is all that'll happen there. Since we've already started, I can't really move stuff around. Okay, Luck against 3C, and Luck will be on the left side. Yeah, tournaments are usually while you're at work. Understandable, yeah. Alright, let's see what you can do. Speaking of, I should definitely try and host one at some point. Evening time for North American players. I think that would work really well for some people. Let me know how much interest there is in that, because I've been thinking about doing it. Just never got around to it just yet. Luck with Isabella, not surprising. 3C with Marina. I think Luck definitely has the know-how to take on this character, but we'll see how the matchup goes. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, but I didn't want to give away what Luck's plan was. I think it's fairly clear to people experiencing this matchup, though. Stab attempt there, then a sidestep. Nice from Luck, switching it up. Sometimes people say the longsword actually struggles against sword and shield a bit more than the sabers do. I can definitely see that, but I think Luck is making the best use of the tools he does have and allowing experience to prevail. Even that high guard cut is a good way of keeping her in check. That stab attempt just missing there, and Luck tries to dash away. But there's the hit to the head. Back and forth from both of them. Good movement from 3C. Going low there, nearly getting punished. Going low there. Nice attempt from 3C. The push bug, but 3C tries to push back out of measure. And there's the snipe with the snap cut. The snap cut always coming after that push. And it's a threatening attack in its own right. You can push out of measure with Isabella and then go for the snap cut. And it comes out so fast that in of itself it's a viable attack. There's a push from 3C. And quite a laugh there from Marina. Okay, Luck trying to keep distance. That's what you should do with the longsword. X cut there after the push this time. A cut to switch legs, B cut there, and then the high guard cut. Interesting. It definitely can slip between the weapons. I see what Luck's trying to do, but when it fails against a shield character like this, it can go very badly. There's the pommel strike and the X cut. Luck is still doing very well in the pocket all the same. I think experience is really helping him here. Proving that Marina is quite beatable. But that was a nice hit from 3C. And that lunge, nice, punishing the fact that Luck was dashing. Nice, that's a new combination that Luck has mastered of Isabella, that stab into snap cut, which comes in very quickly. I don't think 3C was able to read it, he just stayed out of measure, and that's why he stayed safe. I don't think he expected it or anything. A nice move to have in Isabella's arsenal, and a good way to punish somebody who thinks they can just punish the stab. Kick there, yeah. 3C just pushing in close. Luck going with a push there. Doesn't quite land. Snap cut there. Stab, moving back. Luck respecting the shield. But there's the push. Right after I say that, goes right for the push. 3C not able to adapt to that push. No keyboard control. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. You are not done yet, though, 3C. Switch sides. Yeah, some of these new players having to fight some really experienced fighters, but I think that's just inevitable, especially with the fact that we have 8 people, if we consider the fact that Turk is not here. But we've seen a lot of these new players getting better as they go, though, so it's really cool to watch their journey. Luck going with Jan this time, one of his best characters. A lot of attacks. This is how Luck likes to play Saber. He does this with Barabash as well. Kind of surprised he didn't go with Barabash, but I guess he knows something with Jan. Good cancel there. Y cut. Just threatening the guard of so many cuts. Yeah, a lot of Isabella players are not a fan of that matchup, actually. It's just one of those things where Isabella struggles to make stuff happen. Because she's more of a counter-strike character, so she does better against certain Saber characters, for example, but there's certain matchups where one needs to be more active, and Isabella struggles more. Jan has the reach as well. It's not like he's lacking it here, so he has a lot of advantages that Isabella maybe doesn't have. And in general, a lot of people consider him the best character in the game, so all around a good pick from Luck. More varied thrusting game from Jan too, ironically, despite the fact that Isabella is using a sword that's better at stabbing than the Saber. Jan has a lot of neat little angles he can use. Luck needing to watch his stamina a little bit there. Grab attempt. Very good try, but his opponent moved back. Maybe a push would have worked. Tough to say. Trying to wrap around with that cut. And 3C getting that first point. A-cut there aimed at the hand. Doesn't quite connect. Rushing in there. A-cut again from Luck. Wrapping around. Very nice back and forth from both of these fighters. Definitely Luck's style here. The Quart and the back Y. One of those moves landed. I don't think both of them did. There's the chop. 3C once more, just like Julian, putting up a good fight, but I think the experience is the main decider here, especially the fact that Luck is applying pressure and switching up out of nowhere too. Like, this is something that could catch even a really good player. Out of nowhere, he went with this slow but elusive attack to the leg. Back Y there, but he immediately gets hit in the head. Nicely done from 3C. There's a nice attempt from Luck. Going for some lunges, 3C, but doesn't quite land it. That sidestep, there's a trade. Luck is tired. But 3C is limping. Interesting, that chop after 3C faints there. And that's that's a funny death animation too. A little bit of a bug there, but it's not a big deal. Yeah, Luck's doing exactly what he should do here. Just making good use of his reach to apply tons of pressure. And at some point, something will slip through. And Marina will lose any trade with Jan. She's not a particularly strong character. There's a grab, and then a cut. Taking the head straight off. Nice finish from Luck. Definitely a much easier time with Jan. But like I said, 3C. This is double elimination, so you're not out just yet. Now we've got Oak against Lanch Connect. And that's, I think that one is going to be a banger. Lanch Connect has been sparring a lot. He's definitely warmed up. And he's got a killer Tarnowski. And I think you're both keyboard players, right? Let me know if I have that correct. And Oak will be on the left side. I know Oak's on keyboard, of course. And Lanch Connect will be on the right to start us off. Yes, excellent. You both should have keyboards, so let's get started. Jan is much easier there, yeah. I think Jan is an overall stronger character too, but you do also use a very good Isabella, so while I think that is true on paper, in practice a good Isabella player can still do just as well. But yeah, there's very good pressure in your part, Luck, and a good attempt from 3C as well. Okay, Dusak versus Saber. Lanch Connect getting the first one, actually. Nice, taking the hand straight off. We haven't had any legs problems to my not. Well, I was going to say that. Hopefully Lanch Connect is good to go, because that is really weird. He did not move at all. Okay, let's pause the game here. Clearly something's up. It's laggy for Lanch Connect for some reason. Okay, let's just wait it out. It's probably just a spike. And just long guard when you're ready. Okay, let me check his ping actually while we're waiting for this to clear up. Your ping looks okay. 175 is actually pretty good. Okay. Just long guard when you're ready. Alright, excellent. Glad it passed there. That was a good opening for Lanch Connect. It would have been a shame for that to be thrown away by problems on his end. Big cuts from Lanch Connect. Good parry, though. Doesn't quite land those. Oak is going to be looking to play this really precisely. Okay, Lanch Connect's still good to go. Big cuts there. I know Lanch Connect sometimes has problems on certain hosts, so I hope that doesn't persist here. Good snipe attempt there from Oak. Doubles up though, Lanch Connect taking another flag. Stab attempt that almost landed. Good try from Lanch Connect, the dash and stab. Landing a horrific wound on Laszlo. Like a crescent moon across his whole body there. Lanch Connect is playing quite unpredictably right now, and Oak is falling for some of those tricks. Nice trade there. Lanch Connect actually takes it there. Laszlo hits hard, but Tarnowski is a bit more durable. Hits even harder, I think. So it's tough for Laszlo to win a trade. And Lanch Connect with a very convincing win in his sights here, but this is where Oak likes to adapt. Oak is very good at that type of thing. It is not over till it's over. That's a double. Oak is very good at punishing mistakes, but I think he's seeing mistakes where there aren't necessarily because of the way that Tarnowski can be played. Be very tricky to fight against, especially in the hands of somebody skilled like Lanch Connect, who has a lot of experience under his belt by now, and has challenged the best more than once. Now he's looking for one more, going for cuts there. That's a double. Oak is probably fairly happy with that. That was close. Lanch Connect almost secured that win for that round. That little parry cut there from long guard, I think it is. Don't play Tarnowski quite as much. Y into X. Oak thought he had a chance to reply, but Tarnowski's follow-ups can actually be pretty fast. But we're not done yet. Oak has had amazing performances lately, so this would be a little bit of an upset. Not to talk down to Lanch Connect, of course. Lanch Connect is a fantastic Tarnowski player, but I think it is clear that Oak is a bit more experienced. He's played this game for years, so if Lanch Connect does win this, it'll be huge. He'll have knocked out one of the favorites of this competition, if not the favorite, to win this whole thing. So this will be huge. But Oak has come back from worse situations before. Lanch Connect cannot afford to relax too much. That's a win. One flag there for Lanch Connect. That's huge. Good for his morale. He's still solid. Bunch of cuts from Oak trying to punish Lanch Connect if he tries to reply, but he's smart. He parries those attacks. Oak with that lunging move, but doesn't quite land it. Despite the blade beat, it just wasn't close enough. Attempting to snipe the arm there, that nearly landed. That's a good move to threaten the guard that Lanch Connect tried there. That sidestep that Oak likes doing actually left him open. Good punish from Lanch Connect. Another win on the board. The dash and thrust, but it's a very threatening move that he has against Laszlo, especially. Push, nicely done from Oak. We don't see him pushing very often, but that was a good way to interrupt the wind-up phase of that third incoming attack. A grab might have worked too, but a push turned out to be very reliable, and that's another flag for Oak. And again, another flag for Oak, punishing that slight mistake from Lanch Connect, and that's all that Oak needs to instantly punish you. Lunging at the hand there. Oak with some nice mix-ups here. Lanch Connect needing to be careful, and Oak is anticipating those two cuts now. He's adapting nicely to his opponent. That's what he's best at. Nearly, again, punishing him right there. Good attempt, a stab to the body. Lanch Connect does not follow it up. Yeah, Oak is playing this really well right now. He knows exactly what he needs to do now to defeat Tarnowski. Lanch Connect now is the one who really needs to switch it up, I think. It's just a matter of finding how to do that. Goes for a stab, and it didn't look like a convincing hit, but it was enough after inflicting damage on Laszlo earlier. All the same, Oak was open, so even if he carried on through and stabbed him, you know, like, it would have hit. So it might have visually looked strange, but he obviously inputted a stab, so his intention was to keep going and to run Laszlo through. That X cut leaving him open, nice punish. Good adjustments from Oak. The line to X, but Oak backs off. Oak does not try to punish it this time, and that's what Oak needs. Left foot forward stands for Tarnowski. Lanch Connect switching after that cut. Line to X. Good patience from Lanch Connect, parrying those ripostes there. Before he was falling for that as well himself, but now he's adapting to that, which is good to see. X cut. Now he expects that reply from Oak, and that's really good play from both of them. both adapting on the fly. That's really awesome to see. But Lanch Connect, I think, struggling to find the follow-up after that defense because Oak is moving so well. Laszlo, of course, being quicker than Tarnowski in that department. Oak has landing a hit at this point. The pressure definitely on Oak's side, but that is a double. Wind to X. Ready with that parry. Beautiful from Lanch Connect. Definitely playing like an elite player at this point. If there was any doubt of that before, he's doing fantastic and nearly sniped that arm. And this is huge for Lanch Connect. He has tied it up again. Making life for Oak very miserable. There's a stab to the body. Tries to be patient there, but that left foot forward stance leaves him a bit too vulnerable. And Oak seizes that opportunity, going for the YX, switching it up from the combo he was trying before. That stab misses, and Oak with a beautiful sidestep. And then lunges forward with that hit to the head. Just that slight mistake, again, was all that Oak needed. And Oak looking to tie it up with a win of his own. Good patience from Lanch Connect after going with the doubled up cuts. Trying to snipe the hand, both of them. They do not succeed, but that was cinematic there, how they both cut into each other's attacks. Lanch Connect looking to punish Oak, but Oak slips away there. Hit to the head, though. A little bit of a messy engagement. And that favors Tarnowski this time. Very intense round. And Oak understands that he cannot afford to give up another flag. Beautiful defense from Lanch Connect. Oak didn't switch it up in time, and so he ended up hitting the blade. He was obviously hoping for Lanch Connect to crack under that pressure, but he didn't quite do so. Good feints from both of them, and out of measure, Lanch Connect. Oak almost finishing it just then, but he's a little bit patient. He doesn't want to force a double or anything like that, because that could actually favor Tarnowski. We've seen that a few times. That stamina not looking good for Lanch Connect. Oak circling him like a shark. There it is, the back Y. Oak staying solid there, 1-1. And I have a feeling that this next round here is just going to be complete pandemonium. Don't know about you guys, but I feel a storm coming. They both adapted really nicely to each other, and they have to fight once more to see who wins this round. Or this match, I should say. Sticking with the same picks, glad to see that Tarnowski alternative skin there. With the hat, of course. Yeah, it's easy to say that, but sometimes when Oak does a back Y, for example, that can easily punish a push. But I get what you're saying. If somebody was really good with the timing of the push, such that, or grab for that matter, such that you can hit just in the wind-up phase. We've actually saw Oak do that earlier. It definitely can help. I think under pressure, though, it's easy to think, oh, if someone just throws a random cut, I'm going to get punished. But yeah, you definitely want to think about using punches, using pushes, grabs, these types of things. Oh, just a bunch of attacks. Spamming the back Y, actually, even with the slow combo. Tarnowski, a little bit slow, so he does... Lanch Connect does try to stay patient there. And Lanch Connect delays the follow-up with that X cut just a little bit. And takes the hand right off. You can do that with some combos, actually. You don't have to combo instantly into your next attack. Sometimes with certain characters and certain combos, you can delay it just slightly. And that can throw your opponent off. Essentially switching the tempo that your opponent's used to and then punishing them instantly. Lanch Connect, again, this is a theme that we've seen with every round. He's managed to secure that first flag. That's very good for his morale. Trying to snipe the hands there. There's a sidestep, and this time it favors Oak. Oak a little bit quicker on the punch, despite the fact that they traded there. Dash and stab. Oak is ready for it, though. He's seen moves like that before. Although he did manage to catch him a few times with that, so gotta give credit to Lanch Connect. Oak is tired, but Lanch Connect does... Okay, I was gonna say he doesn't want to fall for anything, but he goes in with a bunch of dashes and gets punished. I think initially he was either not expecting that or he was worried about just what we saw there, but decided, fuck it, I gotta go in and get that kill. That little bit of impatience, and Oak was able to capitalize, having enough stamina to recover just in time. Going for a wind-up there, Oak instantly punishing. Oak with a lunge attempt there, trying to secure that 4th flag, and momentum will very much be on his side if Oak does manage to win this flag. This is really huge for both of them, this specific flag, I would say. Lanch Connect securing it, though, saying, I'm still in the fight. I'm not down yet. Stab there, blocked. Really intense fight. This could be a final. This is how high quality it is right now. They're certainly fighting like it's a final, and that's good to see. Good exchange there. Lanch Connect standing his ground, trusting his guard. But that push, like Luck was saying, Oak was able to slip one in. He was able to slip one in earlier, too. This time he manages it, but he's got to be so careful of those pushes. That's a double. Wide cut there. Lunge from Oak. Stab there. It's a double, actually, again. Good parry of that thrust, but isn't quite able to punish it. Wow, that retreating move there, it looked like he was exposed, but he managed to stay out of measure. Nicely done from Oak, though, switching up the tempo and hitting the head. Right as Lanch Connect tried something. There's a lunge there, but he gets punished for it despite attempting the back Y. Oak maintains a lead, but Lanch Connect still in the fight, I would say. He's by no means done. We've seen him do fantastic under pressure. Wide cuts there, switches it up, catching Oak there, but just not able to finish it. Still, I would say that's huge. Now he's applying more pressure. That little blade beat into high guard cut was beautiful from Lanch Connect, but doesn't quite get it to work. Almost gets whiff punished by Oak, but good defense by Lanch Connect. Beating the blade, but stays really static there. He was very flat-footed at the end of that, and that allowed Oak to slip a sidestep in. And Oak needs one more to secure the win here, and Lanch Connect will be in the loser's bracket if that happens. Stab attempt to the body. And Oak just with good pressure there. Beautiful from him. Attacking the spots that Lanch Connect is not defending. And he slips past 7-3 for Oak. But Lanch Connect put up a great fight. So props to him. Our first 2-1 in this whole tournament too. British Turk not able to show up, so Info will get the win. We'll just disqualify him there. And before we move on to the loser's bracket, we do have a fight that we need to do in round 2, and that's me versus Eve. So let's get even here. That was a great fight between those two. And Eve, you will be on the right side, and I'll be on the left. This one could easily be an intense one in its own right. Eve is another favorite of this tournament. I'm sure a lot of people aren't happy to see that Oak won his fight. That was looking pretty bad for him at first, but he has a way of just adapting after analyzing the opponent. It's exciting here. Saber fight between me and Eve. That's as good as it gets. Alright, good luck, Eve. I'll be quiet for this one, most likely. I'll take a double. I know you can sidestep, by the way. I think it's kind of cheap to do that. So. Okay, switch sides. Good round, by the way. Nice, 1-1. For all the marbles. Whoever loses this goes down to the losers bracket. GG. Yeah, those pushes, I don't know how you deal with them sometimes, but you did great with that. Fantastic fight. Maybe I needed to grab more. That did work sometimes, but other times, of course, you were very good at keeping space, so very good. Eva's a top contender, like I was saying earlier. There's no doubt about it. Okay, British Turk against Julian in the losers bracket. I thought the same with the grabs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that was great. And I like that we both had to come up with moves like that to get an edge. Yeah, that's by no means a criticism of how you're playing. That was actually very well done on your part to start mixing it up like that up close. Oh wait, Turk is not here. My bad, Julian. So you actually just move on. Hopefully I didn't ping him. I did ping him. Oh well, just ignore that ping. Turk, obviously you're not around, so yeah, that's my bad, Julian. All right. We'll just go in order here. 3C will actually fight me next to stay in the tournament. Let's get 3C in here. Jesuito says, accurate sword fighting. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, but if you're not aware of this game, it's Hellish Court. I have a Discord link if you want to check it out, check the community out, and join these tournaments. You can play even if you don't have the game through Parsec, and it's a lot of fun. So you can see if you like the game before you buy it and that type of thing. In 3C, you'll be on the left, I'll be on the right. And same deal, obviously, best of 3. And hopefully I stay in the tournament, but we'll see. I'll definitely take 3C seriously here after what I saw. Gave Luck a little bit of trouble before Luck adapted, so definitely not someone to mess around with. I definitely should have warmed up before this tournament too, but I think I still played really well. All things considered, Eve is just an absolute beast. Anyway, I'll be quiet for this fight, most likely. Okay, switch sides. Definitely not pulling any punches here, especially with elimination on the line. All right, GG. Thank you for competing 3C. Good adjustments too, that second round. Had to continue playing solid there. Thanks. Appreciate it. And thank you as well, Eve. I just saw that that my bar is scary as ever. I appreciate the compliment. Okay, Lanch Connect against Julian now. Again, we're fighting for elimination here, so you cannot afford to lose this. And after this, I believe we'll be back in the winner's bracket. Info will get a chance to fight for her first time against Oak, which kind of sucks, actually, in the sense they have to fight someone so elite, but there's no way around it. We've got luck against Eve in the other round, so that's just how it is as you get later in the tournaments. There's no avoiding these tough players. And we're getting close to being done the tournament, actually, if you think about it. Let me just make sure they're both here. Beautiful. Lanch Connect, you'll take the left side. Julian, you'll be on the right. Okay, Lanch Connect with the first one. Gonna drop out for now, preparing for the first Fable playthrough tonight. Have fun. Okay, appreciate you coming out, Victor. And yes, Victor is doing a Fable stream actually tonight, so that's North American time, Seattle specifically. So if anyone is interested in checking out his stream, feel free to give his channel a look. Just look up Vibing with Victor as you see in the chat, and you'll find him pretty easily. Okay, we both good? Alright, Julian's good to go. Excellent. Lanch Connect taking the hand straight off. He's actually proving to be a really tough opponent this tournament. The only thing that went wrong for him is that he had to fight Oak. Otherwise, his play has been really good as always. Julian plays a very conventional Samuel. Nice exchange between these two. And that's good as well, actually, playing solid. It's just Julian needs to find those moments to mix it up. I think that's the main thing he has to improve on. Henry's getting some rest, new hero or villain. Yeah, depends on how you want to play it. That's cool. The cool thing about Fable. Julian ties it up. Taking the hand right off. Good B cut there. Very good way to pressure the guard, even with someone as defensive as Samuel. It's a very good move to try. That little parrying cut there is also very threatening. Reaches very far. And has the chance of parrying an attack. Good stab from Lanch Connect. Lanch Connect needing one more. Yeah, I think Julian's good. Question mark? No. Okay. That's pretty clear that he's not. Just long guard when you're ready, Julian. Don't be afraid to pause the game, too. As long as you're, you know, not in the middle of fighting your opponent. You can pause the game if something's going wrong. Lanch Connect is tiring himself out there with feints. You gotta be careful. If he recovers and you get too tired, that could end very badly. Okay, let's see what's going on. Julian disconnected. Julian had a problem with their connection, so it's on his end, whatever's happening, according to Parsec. Lanch Connect's not lagging as much now. Yeah, it kind of shows. You're doing fantastic. Not like with Oak Fight. Yeah, I guess something between your host and mine. I'm not sure. Okay, Julian forfeits the match. I mean, we could still troubleshoot it. You don't have to forfeit, but it's his decision. I guess Lanch Connect moves on. And now we're back into the winner's bracket. Oak versus Info. I don't think Info was expecting to fight right away, but looks like that's what we're doing. Oak is already joining. Just need Info here. And after that, it'll be Eve versus Luck. Of course, you know the drill. Info. Best of 3, 7 flags. And you'll be on the right side to start off. Yeah, let me make sure Info has keyboard too, without the gamepad specifically. There we go. And I'll go AFK for a little bit. I just want to make sure you guys can actually select your characters first and get started. Then I'll step away for a little bit. It won't be long. Just a little bathroom break. Oh, going with Connor. He's been experimenting a little bit with Connor. All right, I'll be right back. Info of Calc is surprising too. Okay, I'm back. Oak went ham there with that sidestep attack that Connor has. Perhaps Oak was anticipating a rapier, and so he decided shield would be best. Or he just wants to experiment with Connor. He's been playing Connor a little bit in sparring, especially, so that could be part of the motivation as well. Typically, he favors Laszlo. Little inquartada there from Info. I'm glad to see Info playing somebody who can also cut. Obviously, Marta's a very good pick too, if you want to play a rapier, but I'm glad to see nonetheless a sort of conventional character. Unfortunately, Marie is just not in the best of states right now, so Info might well do better with somebody like Calc. Wide swing there. Long guard from Info to stop the thrust, but goes low. Good defense from Oak. Stab attempt going low again, but out of measure from Info. Oak not quite punishing it. Good snipe to the head from Oak. Yeah, Oak is as precise as always. The pace is a bit different because of the character that he's playing, just like with Calc, but he plays it just as well. Kind of surprised we haven't seen any... I was gonna say, I'm surprised we haven't seen any Londons, but it's amazing how the commentator can just call things. Summon things into existence. Because he did that after just before I said that. With a sidestep too, so that was a very deliberate tactic on his part. That was well done. There's a nice leg cut into head cut there from Oak. Good pressure. Info of her back against the wall now. Against Oakenlitz. Okay, let's switch sides. You're not done just yet. And even if you lose this, of course, you do have a chance in the loser's bracket. There's Connor. Who's Info gonna try now? Marta. Yeah, Marta is a very good pick if you want to play a rapier. Calc is more 50-50 cutting and thrusting, so. Whereas Marta is a specialist when it comes to the point, so. We'll see what Info can do. We've seen Marta win this matchup before, so it's very doable. Marie might struggle more. Inquartada, beautifully done from Info. And I think that's actually a character a lot of people are dreading the prospect of facing, Marta. We haven't seen a lot of Marta players this tournament, but definitely a potential danger there. Oak thinking the shield is going to protect him, but actually Connor has more gaps in his defense than you think, especially against stabs, if you're not long guarding. Nice use of the London, though. That shank to the body. Again, the London, but gets counter thrust there because Marta has more reach. Oak trying to close the distance, but backs away when he senses danger. It's very good in his part. Beats the blade, but there's the push. Marta's very good at recovering from these sorts of things. And has no problem getting that counter. Lunging stab there. Stab attempt there again. Nobody's landed a hit just yet. Snap cuts. Yeah, this is actually challenging for Oak because he has to close in pretty far with Connor because of the fact that the shield is forward. So it makes it difficult, especially if that nimble point that Marta has to make much happen. This might actually be a very good matchup for Marta, come to think of it. Certainly in Marta's current state, where Marta is just an absolute menace for just about any character in the correct hands. We've seen the likes of Ezekiel just doing a number on people with Martha lately. She's definitely a top tier character. Not the best, but definitely up there in the A tier. Definitely not the best, though. There's some characters that are stronger, but she is pretty damn strong, used properly. Nice push there from Oak, though. Oak finding some ways to adapt. And this will be huge for Oak if he wins. He'll manage to win the whole match. Good sidestep, actually guarding with the shield as a result of that. That was really cool. Ducks under with the London, but there's the Incortada combination there from Martha, and that's something that Martha can also do, is use the thrust in quick succession. Although Kubold has nerfed using the same move over and over again if it's not a combo, so I don't think Martha's quite as strong with that as she used to be, but their info, I think, proved that it at least can still work under certain circumstances. Just not as crazy as it used to be. Okay, pausing the game there. Hopefully everything's good. Oak is good to go. Info's good to go. Probably just a lag spike. Appreciate the sportsmanship on not Info's part. Well, Info's being sportsmanlike too, but I mean on Oak's part in this case. Okay, let's just pause the game here. Long guard when you're ready. Oak is good to go. Is Info good to go? That's the only thing. Something on Info's end, it looks like. Info testing it out, I think. Like, good patience from Oak. Alright, you good, Info? Just long guard? Yeah, okay. Yeah, sometimes you gotta test it out first, because it can quickly go from better to bad again if you're not careful. I've definitely had that happen. If you're just having some kind of issue on your end, and you think everything's good, and you long guard, and you're like, let's go, but then some sort of delay or some sort of lag hits you. It can be very rough. But Oak, I think for the first time this match, might be wrong, but first time this match, I think he might be ahead. And that is really good for his morale. The matchup seemed really rough at first, but Oak has found some ways to compensate. Good hit to the hand, punishing that push, which is not a common sight, especially against shields. Usually that push is a very good move. But manages to hit that hand. The London there, going for, I don't think he meant to do low guard. Rush there, but uses the opportunity to close in. Info made the mistake of throwing a cut instead of a stab, which means that she just didn't have the reach to stop Oak from coming in. And that was a perfect opportunity for Oak to close that range and deliver that killing blow. Backwise there from Info. Good use of the reach. And there it is, back Y. That is one of the most dangerous moves in the game. And it makes it very hard to punish Martha even after a blade beat. You know, straight to the face. It gets past Connor's auto guard pretty nicely. There's a push into a stab. 1-1. Nice comeback there. Just switching the names. Okay, switch sides. Connor there, and Info goes for Marie, which is a weird pick considering Marta did so well. And Marie is not the best of characters, but Info would definitely have some bragging rights if she managed to win this one with Marie. Marie is one of her mains, to be fair, so at least she has that going for her, where she knows the moves inside and out and can react really quickly to whatever's going on without thinking too much, just sort of moving on muscle memory, and that is definitely an advantage with any character. But I think Connor is a much better character than Marie. So this will be tough. Double lunge out of measure, but the back X, nicely done from Info using the point to once again keep Oak at bay, which I think is really the game plan with rapiers. You don't want to be cutting too much. You want to be maintaining distance and using the point as much as possible. Info dashing in there, very risky move, and it doesn't quite pay off, but at least she stays out of danger briefly. There's a London to the body, then a cut to the face. Low cut, making Oak limp now. And that's huge. That allows Info to maintain distance, and Info will be trying to make the best use of that. Oak with a bunch of attacks to try and keep Info at bay, maybe get her back against the wall. But good movement from Info keeps her out of harm's way for now. Info not attacking very much, trying to find that perfect opening, and does a cut moving back, and that turned out to be a mistake as Oak was able to deliver a much more threatening attack, especially compared to that retreat cut. It doesn't really reach very far. By its very nature, it's more of a quick blade beat than anything. It's not really intended to clear much space. B cut into thrust there, nice combination from Info, just not able to secure the kill. But very close, because Connor's HP is not very high. It's actually, I think, lower than Marie's, if I recall correctly. Certainly certain parts of his body are. Just kind of interesting, given the vibe that his character has. He's like this big Highlander, but his HP isn't that high. He makes up for that with his shield, of course, but kind of interesting. But in a game like this, of course, it is one of those things where it's a small advantage. It's not typically going to decide a game. You don't want to be taking hits. There's the double lunge. Very effective move into cut there. Info probably could have benefited from a stab there instead of a cut. But it was a very solid effort, and that's a double. This has been an epic battle. It actually has been. Even with Marie, I would say, despite what the flags say, Info has been doing great. It's just, I think the character is so hard to use. Goes low, nicely done from Info. Goes for a cut though, that could have been a mistake. The back X barely parried by the basket of that sword, I think. But it was a very good effort there. Going low was huge for Info. And that leg thrust seems really good because it actually covers some range. The grab was a bit of a mistake there, out of measure. But that stab seems to be better a lot of times than that leg cut because it reaches further. And it can get under the shield. And reach is definitely king here. You really need that distance. And Oak needing one more. Info knows that. That's why she maintains distance, and that was perfectly executed. That sidestep A. Info has to fight this cleanly. I know I was saying Connor has like less HP than Marie, but you still don't want to be brawling with Marie. That's just not going to end well. It's risking way too much. Marie benefits the most when she's played cleanly, like most rapiers. There's two cuts there from Oak, closing the distance. And a solid win for Oak, but Info put up quite a fight with Marie. Now we've got Eve against Luck. And after that, Info against me. We're actually very close to the end. We're looking to see who will make it to the semifinals. Oak has moved on. We're going to see if Eve or Luck will make it there now. And I think this will be another epic one. Okay, as for sides, Eve will be on the left and Luck will be on the right to start us off. Eve has been very sharp this tournament. I would say Luck was too, from what I saw. So, especially if Luck doesn't overthink things and he just goes with the character that he thinks will do best in the given matchup, I think he'll be a really tough opponent. They're almost opposites in the sense that Luck just loves constantly moving, constantly applying pressure. It's a very pressure-based style that he prefers, whereas Eve is a lot more composed. He's not afraid to throw some feints, of course. Especially if Gideon, he can be quite active. But I'd say Eve is more patient than Luck. So it's very interesting to see these styles collide. Luck actually the one with his back against the wall, though. He doesn't want to get stabbed. B into X there. That is a very lethal combo that Calc has. I suspect that Luck didn't want to use Isabella against Calc. That actually can also be a rough matchup for her. Corkscrew there. That's a very dangerous move, of course, that Jan has. Very infamous. Stab to the body from Eve, and that B cut is nice. Eve is very good at setting these up, whether it's with Calc or with Gideon. He knows how to time that cut, oftentimes preemptively, such that if you try to throw a cut coming down, like a Y cut, he intercepts it with that B cut and threatens your guard at the same time. So even if you're thinking, I'll just defend it, it's not necessarily going to pan out that way, depending on the character that you're playing and the position you're in. So it's a really tough move to sort of challenge as well, because he's ready to single tempo you with it. And that goes for both Gideon, who's faster than Calc, and Calc as well. That was a beautiful combination. Luck might be regretting the Jan pick. I think his Jan is very strong, but I don't know. Maybe he would prefer Isabella. Hard to say. But that was a good flag there, doubling up the cuts. Sidestep. All right, Luck's making a nice comeback. Now it's not so clear. Eve with the push, just barely landing it. And from there, that stab is pretty much guaranteed to land if you set it up. Eve, I think, wanted to go with an upcut. But this time, Luck catching it. ISO says that was nasty. Definitely was. Stab to the... aimed at the hand there, but the hand protection stops it. Cut coming down from Luck. Now we're even. Even Stevens. Stabs from both of them, but Eve follows it up nicely with some cuts, whereas Luck was still trying to do that push cut, I think. He might have been trying to input a cut last moment, but he just wasn't quite quick enough. Eve now tired, though, after that engagement, and that push does land, but the follow-up simply couldn't. Maybe a grab would have been better. Down to the wire here. Jan pick working well for Luck once he's warmed up, which is good to see. Obviously, Jan is the character Luck is most well known for, even at least among veterans, because we all know what his Jan used to be like. And still in good form, that thrust landing for Luck. Okay, switch sides. Calc there again, sticking with Jan. I think that actually is the pick. I know I was doubting the pick a little bit just because of how the fight was going, but now we're seeing that Luck just needed to adapt a little bit. Jan is always a strong character, of course. Nice sidestep there from Luck. Gonna have to fight one of these fighters, assuming I win my fight against Info, so definitely hoping I win, whoever it is, because it'll be tough either way. But obviously Eve is the one who beat me, so I do want some revenge, but it's quite possible he'll beat me again if Luck wins here. So we'll see though. We'll see what happens. Definitely not guaranteed that Luck wins this. Eve is putting up quite a fight. He doubles up the thrusts there, catching Luck off guard. Gotta give Oak credit. Oh, sorry, not Oak. This is Eve. I briefly thought it was Oak, but Oak was using Connor earlier. He wasn't even using Calc. He's known for Calc as well. But I gotta give Eve credit here for using multiple characters and succeeding. I mean, Oak deserves credit for that as well, but we're currently seeing Eve doing fantastic with Calc, even against a fast character like Jan. Good stab from Luck. Dipping under. And Luck is just, he's such a fast player. His reaction time might be the best, if not one of the best in the whole server. That's just how Luck fights. He fights at a fast pace every time, whether it's Isabella, whether it's Jan, Barabash. Very fast player to fight against. And you have to be able to match that speed one way or another. And Eve is doing a great job of that. And to do that with Calc, I think, is really impressive because you still have to conserve stamina and be patient with him. So, oh, I think that was just spacing there. Good try from Eve, but too close to land that stab, it looked like. But that was a nice stab to the arm. Very stylish from Eve. Eve maintaining a small lead now. But huge emphasis on small. We've seen Luck come back from worse. There is all to play for. That snap cut from Eve. Luck trying to get that quick stab. That's a very lethal attack that Jan has. Trick shot. I think he wanted the corkscrew, though, not the trick shot. That wasn't quite the time to use it. But as I've shown before, certainly with Barabash, the trick shot cancel into back Y can be a pretty effective combination. Oh, he's tired there. It's harder to deliberately throw with Jan, though, because you can accidentally throw the corkscrew if you're seeking to throw the trick shot for some reason. I feel like in a lot of situations, the corkscrew is better anyway. Oftentimes what happens, though, is people want the corkscrew, therefore, and the trick shot. Yeah. Eve looking amazing, especially on an NA host, Oak says, and I have to agree. If I saw these two playing and I had no idea Eve was from the UK, I'd guess he's a North American player. That's how skilled he is. Although, I feel like we're cursing him a little bit as Luck makes yet another comeback. We're seeing a repeat of the last round. Luck looking to win this whole thing. As we're down to the last flag yet again. It's a double after the doubled up stabs. yeah, Oak and I just completely cursed Eve, it looks like. And Oak has apologized. But we'll see if that results in Eve losing the whole thing. The pressure is definitely on Eve, more so than Luck. Although Luck would not like to throw this away, he gets a stab. But that there is no follow-up there, as I don't think he expected to land it. He didn't expect Eve to just dash into it. Eve with a bunch of cuts. Show some tenacity towards the end there, and that is exactly what he needed. And now it is 1-1. That was the perfect time to start comboing with Calc. I gotta give Eve credit there. We're switching sides. We're doing another round. And it might just come down to the last flag yet again. Is Luck gonna switch? Or is Luck gonna stick with Jan? I wonder. It looks like Eve might be switching. I'll check the ping after this. I don't want to break your guys' rhythm. Most often when I do get a ping, it's something to do with the server, but Big deal. Stab to the arm there. Eve getting the first one after Luck tries that push cut. It's not really a stab, although it can sometimes look like a stab. Because sometimes the tip does land first, and in which case it might as well be a stab, even though the game doesn't consider it as such, and it behaves more like a cut when it beats the long guard. There's 2 flags for Eve, which in such a close contest is huge, I think. But Eve has to be able to convert it. He can't let Luck get that comeback if he wants to make this convincing. There's the snap cut. Luck needing to watch his stamina. Very active player, and that is the risk. Yanni's stamina is okay, but by no means the best. You can run into problems, especially if you're playing active like that, and you take hits and stuff like that. Luck trying to recover, but just not able to in time. Chop there from Luck. Bunch of cuts. Corkscrew. Beautiful parry from Eve of the A cut, actually, after that stab. Stab to the face. Eve is here to win this, and Eve has made some really nice adjustments to Luck's style. Push attempt. B cut there just doesn't quite win the trade this time. That is the risk with cutting upward. Sometimes you don't kill your opponent right away, as the head is a more dangerous place to be hit. Good snap cut from Luck. He's making good use of that move from Yan. There's the chop there. Luck with 2 flags. This could easily be a close game still, especially if the adjustments Luck is starting to make. Definitely won't be easy for Eve, I don't think, but there's a beautiful counter that he's found to the corkscrew, and that's using the stab to get contact with the blade first, and then preemptively doing the A cut. And even if you don't land it on your opponent, it just beats aside that stab and keeps Eve safe. So, very good move. Yeah, Eve just finding some nice counters to Luck's attacks, but Luck was able to get a nice point there, striking the body. Oak now starting to believe in the back A. I guess it's a move that he's kind of written off. It's probably a little bit slow, so I don't blame him for that. But I think the fact that it makes you retreat can allow you to use it as a counter. There's a push and a thrust from Eve. The pressure is on Luck now to win this. He cannot afford to lose another flag. Nice counters again. The B cut this time into a thrust to get that corkscrew out of the way. I think that was more of a preemptive action from Eve, but still very skillfully done. That's a double. Eve does not want to choke this one, especially after making some progress. Nice exchange with these two. Eve doing a great job in that sidestep preemptively to immediately strike Luck was beautifully done. And that's a 2-1. I almost gave Eve -1. But no, it's 2-1. Eve will be fighting Oak, but we're not going to make him fight right away. Nor will we make Luck fight right away. You guys can take a break after such an intense fight. I'll be fighting Info instead, as that is the next fight in line. Beautiful info here. Make sure you get keyboard. Double stab and the push. Yeah, the double stab is actually very tricky. It doesn't look that fast, but it happens when you think you can punish Calc. And he's got reach, so it makes up for any lack of speed there might be. And it's not the slowest move either, so it's kind of mid-level, I would say, as far as speed, but what matters is the fact that he's got that reach, and he's got the ability to punish any punish you try, pretty much. That's not, I don't know, maybe like a snap cut to the head that's preemptively done, or something like that. Info, you're on the left, by the way. Okay. Actually, a little concerned fighting Info. Info can definitely make really good use of rapier characters on a good day. Going with Calc, though, definitely will not take info lightly no matter what, though. And good luck, info. I'll be quiet for most of this again. Okay, switching sides. Good effort, info. Thinking about Connor. Interesting. Yeah, info definitely trying to mix it up here, and I don't blame her. Definitely would advise against Marie, but if you feel confident with Marie, you can absolutely give Marie a go as well. Use whoever you feel comfortable playing. What? Why are you switching sides? Did you think you selected, maybe? Anyway, doesn't matter. Maybe just actually, you know what? She's on keyboard. We gotta remember that. So it's probably very easy to press the wrong button. So it's no big deal. I don't know what her setup's like. So anyway, good luck, info. Going with your main. I respect that for sure. Despite the weaknesses of Marie, still wanting to use the rapier. Why was that? Okay. That is bullshit, but at least I got it. Oh my god, that first cut was just, I don't even know where it went. And that happened twice, too. There's nothing that Info did wrong, by the way. That's just a weird thing that can happen with the move. Oh my gosh. I should have done YX in hindsight, but, you know, I just really wanted the kill. And things happen in the chaos of battle. That's the Maestro special, we call that, for anyone who doesn't know. Because Maestro is known for... Yeah, but it didn't even seem to try to reach her. But yeah, definitely her height sometimes causes bugs like that to happen. You're not wrong there. Shoot, I might lose this if I'm not careful. Info's a very experienced player. She is. Oh, no. Yeah, that was a mistake there. Moved right into my preemptive chop. Good try, though, Info. That was excellent. Okay. Luck against Lanch Connect now. And then the winner of that will have to fight me since we're following the order. On one flag you couldn't move. I don't know which one it was, to be honest, but I'm sorry to hear that. That obviously sucks against a character like Barabash who's trying to close you down. Not ideal. The second one? Okay. Yeah, it just is what it is. I think I was probably in range of you stabbing me, so it's just, you know, I gotta go for the kill against someone like Marie, but that does nevertheless really suck. It's bad in any matchup, but especially that one where you gotta use your range. Okay, Lanch Connect is here. I know Luck is here as well. Just waiting for him. I don't know if I pinged him, so let me do that just in case. Beautiful, he's here. Yeah, no problem. Luck is gonna be on the left side, and Lanch Connect will be on the right. Great tournament so far, by the way, guys. We've been really enjoying these fights. And like I said, whoever wins this will be fighting me, so don't go away. Don't particularly like making people fight twice, but we're kind of at that stage where it's inevitable for somebody, so. And that is the order. We're just going to stick with the order on challenge. So, Luck on the left, Lanch Connect on the right. Should have keyboard. Let me know if you don't. Excellent. Isabella against Tarnowski, of course, with the Dusak. It's a really cool matchup in real life as well, like Messer versus Longsword or Dusak versus Longsword. Sort of a short, choppy type weapon against the two-handed Longsword. It's not quite a great sword, of course. It's not quite as powerful or anything like that, but still a solid weapon in its own right. And I think, while the Messer definitely can beat it, it's not like it's impossible. The longsword has some pretty important advantages. And it's nevertheless very interesting, especially in real life. Unfortunately, this game can't ever get to that level. I think some people were hoping for like a more complex grapple system, but I don't think that's ever coming to Hellish Court. But if you ever see those spars in real life, like that's often what the Messer guy wants. Longswords are pretty good in a grapple as well, but clearly the shorter weapon is better. And it's just really cool, like some of the stuff a really skilled Messer fencer or Dusak fencer can pull off if they're really good with the weapon. And it's a shame a lot of that stuff just can't be brought to Hellish Court, but I totally understand why. It's just, you'd need like simulation levels on par with the UFC games to get satisfying grappling like that in this game. And even then, I think a grappling system like that could end up being very frustrating, because I actually got UFC 5 for free to try out on the PS5 because I have premium, and it is a good game, but I think there's a lot of flaws in it that I am not a fan of, and one of them is the grappling system. On the one hand, I applaud them for simulating it the way they have, but on the other hand, it can get really frustrating when somebody is constantly grappling you, and oftentimes it just comes down to who's quicker at pressing buttons, and yeah. And I just don't find it as fun, wrestling with somebody compared to just throwing punches and kicking, or in this case, throwing cuts. So I like how Hellish Court does it, where the grab is still a tool in your tool set to use, but it's not something that requires a lot of inputs to deal with. It's just like you move back if you're ready for it, and you can break out of it. But if you don't, because we're using weapons, you can be taken out of the fight pretty quickly. It's like a submission of sorts, but with a blade. Even the UFC games don't get grappling right. Yeah, there's definitely issues, but I feel like they've simulated it better than some other games. I'm not really a fan of it, though, because at the end of the day, I think a long wrestling match isn't as fun in a game compared to a stand-up fight. Maybe a game like Half Sword would be fun in multiplayer, because I know the grappling in that's pretty fun, but obviously with the ragdolls, it's pretty jank. A lot of the fun comes from the fact that it is fundamentally flawed. UFC Undisputed 3, the grappling there is actually fun and engaging. I think I skipped that one. Yeah, I did skip that one. Okay, 1 second, guys, just switching the names. Lanch Connect with a really nice performance against Luck. I'm also glad to hear that his connection has improved. It obviously shows with his performance. But the striking is way worse, I see. Yeah, they can never get those things right, can they? I'm also not a fan of... I think the striking's actually pretty bad in UFC 5, the more I think about it. Because there's times where it feels like you're just landing shot after shot. Maybe it's just a skill issue. I will fully admit that it could be a skill thing on my part. But I've had times, like in the career mode, where I'm landing constant punches on a guy, and his hands are down, he's not even blocking it or anything, and somehow he's tanking them all. I get like a solid cross to his face, or a hook to his head, or an uppercut, and I get that not every punch is gonna take somebody out. I don't expect that, of course, but over the course of the fight, I feel like you should be punished if you're just dropping your hands and taking hits, but it seems a little inconsistent. But again, it could be a skill thing. Maybe there's just something I'm missing, but I don't know. Point being, in a game like this, I think a convoluted grappling system would not be ideal anyway, even if we can dream about a game that just like simulates it perfectly and is fun and all the rest of it, but that's just not happening. We have so many limitations, and there's no way that Kubo would make it better than what UFC does, and even then, it's flawed, it's not perfect, so. Anyway, let's focus back on the fight here. Luck has been struggling this whole time, actually. With Isabella, he was having a lot of trouble. And with Barabash, it's a similar story. Again, Luck is a very fast player, but that speed not proving to be much of an advantage, at least not as much as he was hoping in this matchup. He's trying to apply good pressure here, and he's doing a great job to the stamina. There's a good chop. Luck is possibly finding something here, and that's good to see. Good feints from Luck as well. Using that delayed snap cut too, but then feinting it. I like that. I don't use that as much as I used to, but it actually can be a good move. What do you think of the matchup, Subu? I played some bar against Lanch and it felt super hard. I think Barabash can win it, but he doesn't have a lot of staying power. So with Barabash, you have to be very mobile. You have to be ready to sidestep, to be ready to snap cut, and just, you can't stand still and just fight with him. Because if you do that, Tarnowski will find a way past your guard, or he'll find a way to out-trade you. So you have to just outmaneuver him or punish a massive mistake. You can't just engage in a stand-up fight against him. So I think, while I consider Barabash a stronger character overall, like for just comparing most matchups, I think this one can be more challenging than some other sabers for a Barabash. Whereas a character like Gideon, for example, has a lot more staying power and can brawl with him better, while still having good speed. Gideon is a very fast saber in his own right. So that's my thought on it. It's not that Barabash is a weaker character as such. It's just he can't engage in a stand-up fight. He has to be constantly moving. Yeah. Nicely done from Lanch Connect. He's very sharp. And I'm going to have to fight him next, so don't leave. Okay. Lanch Connect takes it 2-0. Very convincing victories, too. Gotta give him credit there, again, on an EU host fighting a North American player who's so experienced, but that doesn't much matter. And you keep the side, Lanch Connect, you are on the left. And I'll be on the right. So that's nice, we don't have to switch sides. Anyway, I'm not super surprised, actually, that you struggled with Bara. I've actually had struggles myself, too. When I think of a saber that Bara like struggles against pretty consistently, Tarnowski's up there. I don't know if he's the highest, but he's up there. Laszlo and Jan are also his other nemesises. Anyway, I've said before that I think Hassan can do well against Tarnowski, so I hope to prove that here. But we'll see what happens. I've used him a little bit. Oh, jeez. Okay. So Lanch Connect won it this first round. I hope you can kind of see what I was talking about. I don't think I did it very well, but like Hassan has more staying power, so it felt like I could brawl with Tarnowski more. I think if I was more skilled, it might have gone better, but I haven't practiced with him in a bit, so. Terminator Walk, yeah, he's really cool. I'm gonna go with Bara, even though I was just saying it's a tough matchup, just because he's my main. I don't think there's a better play here than that.
No!
You good? That was a little weird. Cool. Long guard if you're good. It's not really like Lanch Connect to move back like that. Okay. I'll assume you're good unless you pause the game or something crazy happens. Okay, yeah, that's really weird. Are you having lag spikes? Lanch Connect did win versus Luck, yeah. Okay, let me know what's going on. I won't, we'll just let the lag spikes pass and hope they... Yeah, some real ones. Okay. Okay, I'll just back off. Long guard when you're good. .202 ping. That's actually not absurdly high for where you are, but probably higher than I would expect. I expect most Russians actually to be around 180. 202 is like borderline unplayable, tough to play. 160 is what you usually get. Okay. Right now you're sitting at 189 for me. It might be fluctuating though, because I have this weird visual bug where I can't see the fluctuations in your ping much. But all right, you good to go? Excellent. Feel free to pause if something goes wrong again, or signal some other way. Okay, yeah. Again. Good? Okay. That Thunder Punch was completely accidental, but it turned out to be the right move. I was trying like a forward Y. But I don't know, maybe Thunder Punch is a good move here. I'm not sure. I just don't want to take a blade to the face. Yeah, I'm not going to mess around too much. Yeah, he's very good at mixing it up. It's definitely not over. Oof, I think... Yeah, that tracks better than you expect. That was good. Okay, I gotta focus. Okay, 1-1. We're switching sides again. I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel. Barabash went better because he's my main, so I should probably just stick with that. Switch sides, Lanch Connect, there you go. I thought I paid for that skin. I don't know why. Do you want to play? Whatever. It's not worth wasting time, and I'll pay for it after this. Alright, so this is an interesting switch up here from Lanch Connect. And it's actually kind of scary because he cuts very fast with those combos. Thankfully, Bara is fast too, but still. Definitely combos wise, Hassan is quicker. Movement wise and perhaps startup wise, I think Bara is faster. Yeah, Bara can definitely beat him to the punch. So it's kind of funny how there's... I called it a triangle when I was discussing it. Like, Hassan does better against Tarnowski, but then Bara does better against Hassan and struggles against Tarnowski, and it's kind of that. That's how I kind of view those three characters. Oh, okay. Pause the game right as we were gonna engage. Let's see what happens. Sorry about that. I had no idea you were lagging, but you moved forward, so I had to cut there. Good to go? Oh, again. Okay. Long guard when you're good. I don't think he's even seeing how close he's getting to me. That's probably how bad it is when it spikes like that. Lagging again? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I think Lanch Connect might be regretting this pick, but I think he just wanted something faster or to try something out. But ooh, could have punished me there, I think. That's a slow recovery from the grab, actually. I didn't realize he had that. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was kind of depressingly slow. Alright, GG. Very good effort. Definitely was able to beat my Hassan, which was well done, and actually gave me quite a challenge with Tarnowski, but I think switching to Hassan was a bit of a mistake. Let me see if I can buy that skin. I don't know why it's not purchased, but we can do that quickly. Just so I don't forget for next time, because I know people like the onion hat. Don't worry, I won't be playing against the AI, I'm just purchasing it. We're not going to waste time. We're going to do Oak against Eve right away. And Oak is already connecting. Beautiful. Let's see the sides. Eve will be on the left. Oak will be on the right. This is a battle of giants here. Absolute demons today, as always. And whoever wins this is guaranteed second place at the very least, if not first place. So this is a very important fight for both of these fighters. Whoever loses, unfortunately, will have to fight again, as we're at the end, essentially, of this double elimination almost. Oak actually sticking with Connor. I gotta commend him for picking up another character and getting this far. And Eve is not sure who to pick, but goes with Bara, who's another main. And that's actually a common theme with these two, is they were able to switch it up with their mains and still do just as well. Meanwhile, you've got me, who I can be a versatile player, but I would say Barabash today is clearly the character for me, and there's no other character at the moment. So I'm definitely specializing a little bit more right now. Push attempt from Eve, and there's a push from Oak. His Connor's looking very difficult. There we go, attacks from Oak there, getting 3 flags. I think Barabash is normally a good pick in this matchup if you play him properly, but I've definitely been on the receiving end of a good Connor and struggled before. Pekla comes to mind. Pekla is a very nice Connor. Not a lot of people like playing it, but there's some people who can be an absolute menace with him. Pausing the game there. Hopefully everything's good. Eve's good to go. Hope that clears up for Oak. He had a bit of a lag spike, but he seemed to be doing well so far, except for that. So let us know if it improves. Okay, let's see what's up. Heavy spiking? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, your ping looks too high there. It's something between Canada and Russia, maybe? Because Lanch Connect was having that too. And Eve seems okay. Interesting. Eve's at 144 ping, which is actually pretty good for where he's from. Okay, let us know when it subsides, or hopefully it will anyway. Reconnecting? Okay. Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully it's better. But Eve seems to be good to go still. Okay. Same, unfortunately. I could try messing with the settings a little bit. Let me know if this changes anything. Changing up the megabits per second. Better for you? Okay. What about you, Oak? Your ping looks better, at least from what I'm seeing. Again, I have that visual bug, so it's kind of hard to say if it's not fluctuating. Alright, I guess it's the same. Yeah, it's fluctuating. I can actually tell it switched to 2112. Or 212, I should say. It's not quite that high, but 212, which is still high for him. That's not what he wants it to be. Steam remote? Maybe it would. I'm not sure. We can try that. I don't mind. And did you say it was good for you, Eve? Don't know if we can have you on separate things, but we can try. You can join Steam. Alright, I'll let you in on Steam if we have to, but for now I'll try and just let Oak take control from Steam. I know sometimes we might have to like restart the game or there'll be issues, but it looks like we're good to go. Oak had such a good run too. It'd be a shame for him to have to stop here. Nice London stab against the. Well, Eve's not a Londoner, but he is from the UK. Eve's from Stonehenge, I believe. Stonehenge or something. Snap cut there. Oak looking for one more flag. Very good performance of Connor, I have to say. I would have thought Barbash would do better, but he's doing extremely well. Actually catches him on the sidestep. A punch from both of them, or some kind of push from Eve, I don't know which. But it basically did the same thing. There's a London. Eve being hit with the London again. Eve needing to watch his stamina, as does Oak. It's actually a very intense brawl for this potentially last flag. It's actually not a foregone conclusion just yet. but it is kind of looking that way. There's a push though from even the yeah, the Maestro special has some kind of issue with it sometimes, and there again for some reason Barbash just not reaching very far, which is kind of frustrating, but at least the YX still works. And sometimes the YY works. It's an inconsistent bug. But a bug all the same that can't happen. Eve going low. Good pressure. Going for the London again. Oak dashing twice there, and I think his stamina gave way. Eve is able to crash through the rim of the shield. And he's looking for that comeback to hopefully win this round. Obviously, if he loses, not always lost, but geez, that is a brutal punch to the face with that shield. Push there from Oak, but the push bug. I think it's a well-deserved flag, though he manages to score it in the end. Okay, glad it's going better for both of them. It could just be a parsec thing, then, is what I would suspect. I don't think it's my connection if Steam is going well, of all things. Usually Steam doesn't go super well, but... Nice stab to the face. Nice cut there. Actually, even fight. Sorry I was a little silent there. I was just dealing with something quickly. You hate fighting Sububara. You can never reach him with Karna. He can reach you all the time if you're trying to go forward on him. He'll do back snap cut, trick shot, side step, running cut. And if you play defend, Hellish, just throw forward Y and then run back forward Y again. Trying to go for him, triple snap cuts. Hopeless match for Tarna. It's death by 1,000 snap cuts. I really don't think it's hopeless. I think it's a winnable matchup for Tarna. It's just Bara does have the speed advantage. I think Tarna has a solid power advantage though. So Bara can't just stand still. So as much as it might seem like a struggle from the Tarnowski player's perspective, I think it's also a struggle. For the Bara player in its own ways, if the Tarnowski player is good. And this is down to the wire, which is really nice to see. After the previous match. Broadsword fight too, which is cool. Just different styles. Push there from Eve. And it's 1-1. We're not done yet. Stressful fight for both of them, surely. We gotta switch sides. It is Oak on the left now. Nice push into London from Oak. Well, from my perspective, what I would say is Tarnowski wins most of the trades, and Barabash really struggles to block a lot of a lot of what Tarnowski does if I get too close. But I get it. Yeah, Barabash is in a very good state right now, so I recognize he's got some advantages as well. There's no question about that. You'll find a way. Yeah. Yeah, no worries, of course. It's good to hear your perspective too, because I don't really play Tarnowski, so. And good game, by the way. I don't think I sent you a GG on Discord, but obviously good game. Yeah. Glad you showed up, Lanch Connect, and that the issues didn't completely hold you back. I think something was going on with Parsec, so we might have to stick with, at least for Oak, we'll have to stick with Steam. But I don't know, Eve seems to be doing fine on 5 megabits per second now, so that's good. Three to three. Another close one. Back dashing there. Oak is trying to bait something out, I think. Goes for the dash in there this time. Gets a stab. Eve does. B cut there. Doesn't quite land. That was close. They've both taken some damage at this point. Push there. But good backdash from Oak. That's something Pekla is very good at with Connor. Push there. Again, almost landing, but Connor's actually very good at backdashing. So good usage of that from Oak. Good stab. Good push into London. Eve is getting hit by the London again. It'd be especially hilarious if this was the city map, which is in a back alley. Stab to the face, though. Eve says I can shank you as well. This is coming down to the wire. Oak doing a very good job of moving in and out. Eve is taking some damage, but so has Oak. This is down to the wire. Let the push and the stab to the face. It's really coming down to who can line up those quick stabs. Often, but not always, after the push. Some dashing from both of them. Very intense. Pushing, though, and that's it. Oak just showing that little bit more tenacity and lining up that push. That was close. Okay, Oak is not fighting just yet, but Eve, if you're ready to go, you've got to fight me for the chance to make it to the finals. Let's go. Awesome. I like that attitude. But I wouldn't hold it against you, of course, if you needed a breather after that. At least you're not eliminated. So, it's a nice thing about double elimination. You're on the left, I'm on the right, of course. And I gotta fight two really good players to win this whole thing. And I've gotta fight Oak twice, so my work's definitely cut out for me there. But we'll see what can happen. The most British fight we've ever had, I think, Oak says. You bet, like, so much shanking going on. If only this it was in the back alley map, and it would have been even more of a British fight. But that's okay. The back alley map's not the best for competitive play, albeit fun at times, so. Yeah, but he's shanking him. That's a British pastime, fighting with knives and machetes. I would also counter and say that the English are a Germanic people. So, at least originally, so. So it's kind of redundant to say German means they're not British, in that sense, anyway. The royal family's German, too. Anyway, I shouldn't be distracted by the chat. I should probably focus here. The Maestro special doing what it should now. At least Anglo-Saxon, Connor's like Celt. Yeah, he's if we're talking like original tribes, he'd be like a Pict. Obviously, they don't really see themselves as that anymore, but that's like the original roots. Maybe with a little bit of Scandinavian influence in there. Apparently there's a lot of stabbing going on in Glasgow too, so there's also that. That's what Eve says anyway. I haven't been there. Okay, nicely played, Eve. Gotta lock in, or Eve's got it. And he'll be fighting Oak again, which is exciting as well. Definitely gonna be a derby no matter what happens here, but for all the marbles. He's a tough opponent. One more. Eve taking a second to take a breather, maybe. 1 second. 1 second? Oh, no problem. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Speaking of Gideon, obviously wants to try and match my speed. I think that's a smart play. His Gideon is a beast. GG. And again, the YY for some reason bouncing off. I don't know what that was, but Eve nonetheless was ahead, so the win is deserved. I don't know what happened to it though. GG. Yeah, it is weird. I mean, you might have still won the trade though. Who knows? So I'm not upset about that. You were ahead in flags and you were playing more solid, so it's still a well-deserved win. And that was a fun fight overall. It's definitely not the reason that you won. So anyway, yeah, Oak is gonna be fighting you next. Gonna try Parsec, it looks like. All right. I got third place. Considering I haven't been warming up lately, like I haven't been playing so much, I'm very happy with that. There were some elite players. Super similar to our first fight too. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Now that you mention it. Yeah. Okay, so Oak, let's just see his ping. It looks good. I think we're ready to go. Oak is obviously going to be looking to win it right here. Oak's been winning tons of tournaments lately, so that would be huge. I think Eve has been as well, but Oak has just been, as Venator said, Oak has just been on a rampage lately. Oak on the left, Eve on the right. Maybe Eve needs a little break or something. Trying to join? Oh, I thought you were still in. My bad. Please. That's funny. All right. You're on the right, by the way, Eve. Okay, saber fight, I love it. Obviously, you guys can pick whatever you want, but being a saber player myself, I'm a bit biased towards sabers and really like seeing them go at it in this specific matchup, but nice. Okay, Eve with a slight lead. YX. Nice use of the lunge for Gideon. They're both very vulnerable to each other, these characters. That's another thing I really like about this matchup. So much of it is just positioning and management of distance. Good lunge from Oak. Eve's bleeding, but Gideon's got that extra fat on him, and he's trying that tippy toe chomp, I think is what Eve calls it. I think that's what it's called in the move list too, something like that. It's actually surprisingly effective at times, as we've seen. And Eve just knows when to throw it. But Oak slightly ahead, absolute demon with Laszlo. And there it is. Oak wins the first round, but there's still plenty to play for. It's not over. Same picks. Even fight again. Kick there, or knee, I should say, from Eve. Doesn't quite connect. Good switch up from Oak. Oak is so good at catching you with those. Nice upcut there. You can cancel tippy toe. Yeah, you definitely can. Certainly the startup. Getting rid of bad timing. Yeah, I think that might be true as well. There it is. Crisscross taking the hand straight off. Upcut. Lunge. And it's a double. Nicely done from Eve, doing some switch-ups just like Oak was doing. Just with a different attack. Going for the lunge. Eve wanted that quick kill. Try and catch Oak on a mistake. But Oak's not going to be killed that easily, it looks like. Stab there into it, a cancel, and lands a cut. No kill, but that was nicely done from Eve. Going for the crooked thrust there. Doesn't quite land it. Good pressure from Eve. Oak is very much on the back foot right now. Oak's going to need to change that, I think. He won't want any hope of scoring a flag, and there it is. The crisscross. Cross-cutting from Laszlo. Very classic combo, but Eve takes this one. It is 1-1. Just like that. I'm glad the connection's better now for Oak. There's a pretty massive leg spike or whatever was going on. Oak's going to want to end it here because we got another intense fight lined up, just like this one, if Oak loses. Good strike to the head. Everybody good? Okay. Oak is just on a roll here. I don't know if it is Connor time. He's doing great with Laszlo. Yeah, sometimes even if you lose a match or a round, whatever it is, by a lot, it's actually best not to switch characters because sometimes you'd find ways to adapt, or you're just, because you're at an elite level, you're both capable of dominating the match, so it's just best to stick with your main, even if for whatever reason a certain engagement did not go so well. But sometimes equally it is best to switch it up, and you just gotta kind of read it sometimes, I find. And I've certainly had it happen, and other people have had it happen too, where they think a matchup just went really poorly and you must switch, and then in doing so you're kind of doubling down on your loss because you're not warmed up with the character, you haven't mained the character. Even if the matchup's good on paper, you're just slower than you otherwise would be. So in this case, of course, Oak does actually main Connor, but I would say, well, he mains Connor a little bit. He doesn't use Connor to the same extent that he does Calc or Laszlo, so I think Laszlo's the good pick here, personally, but oh, the tippy toe cut barely missed. And Oak was able to capitalize with a nice tempo switch of his own. And that's really the secret of the tippy toe, is that it just completely changes the timing that you have to deal with. The best way to deal with it sometimes is actually to interrupt it with a cut. But again, easier said than done when an opponent is being so elusive with the timing like Eve is. Eve almost killing there, but the cross guard protecting Oak from that follow-up. That was so close. Oak really wants to kill, but this is what Eve does when you get exhausted. He trusts his guard. He doesn't... Okay, he overextended a little bit there, but that's pretty easy to do against that particular move, that combo, but... What Eve tries to do is he tries to let you exhaust yourself while still applying pressure, so you're kind of forced to do something. You can't just sit there and do nothing, because eventually something will slip through, but by the same token, by simply hitting his guard, you're expending more of your stamina and putting yourself in a bad spot. And Eve does a great job of just applying that pressure. Eve takes this one, but we still got to do another fight. Eve will take the left this time, Oak will take the right. We are still not done. Same characters, I love it. Taking the hand straight off. Eve is on a bit of a roll now. He'll hope to maintain that momentum, which is not easy against somebody like Oak, but that is going to be the goal. Going low, gets punished. Good combinations from both of them, resulting in a double as they both try to do an attack afterwards. Oh, punch, but I don't think Oak expected a punch there. That was funny, but he follows it up eventually. The tippy toe, but Oak is reading that very well, I have to say. There it is, the lunge, taking the hand straight off as Oak goes for one of his own. Still going, yes, this is the final series of rounds, though. I got third place, but Eve and Oak are fighting for first place at the moment. Eve has been on a roll, though. At first they were even, but Eve seems to have found something. Both going for a similar attack there, but neither one's able to connect. Oak applying lots of pressure, but Eve staying solid. There's that B cut there, the false edge. It's kind of slow, but it threatens the guard against people like Laszlo. Eve's being very bold, especially with the flag advantage. Nice cancel there. Oak might have punished him if he didn't. Again, Oak just trying to find something they'll get through, but Eve remaining solid, punishing him again. And Eve just needs one more to win this round. And if he wins the one after that, he will have won the tournament. Good pressure from Eve, and he switches it up with the feint, managing to catch Oak's blade there, actually. Amazing performance from Eve. Oak needs to change something. Whether it's a character or a tactic, strategy, something. Going for a lunge there, crisscross from Oak. Then switches it up. Nicely done with that lunge. Both of these fighters are so good at doing that. They have a set of moves they like using, and they mix up the tempo with them at the most opportune times. You can see Oak trying that again with that nice lunge as well. A cut there from Eve. Making it 1-1. There's a double after Eve lands a cut. His hand gets popped off. Nice B cut. Again, Eve's so good at throwing that, whether it's with Calc or with Gideon. He's very good at throwing that specific attack and using it as a means to not only strike you, but to interrupt your incoming attack by putting his blade in the way and striking you at the same time. Going for a lunge, but there's a strike to the head. Nicely done from Oak, 2-2. B cut from Eve, forcing Oak back. Then he does that lunge again, mixing it up, and it actually gets right past Laszlo's guard. Oak is not able to respond in time. There's the tippy toe, but Oak again reads that like a book. That's how you know he's an elite player, and that's a trade. Oak managed to land a stab, but I'd say Eve's is more decisive, taking out Oak's mobility, but that's a double, just barely. Very good try. Eve wanted to get some kind of push. And that's another double. Very even fight. But Eve is just slightly ahead. And now it's looking that much more possible for him to win because he won that first fight. And now he's set to win this one. Oak throwing a bunch of back Ys, and it actually prevents Eve from doing anything. Incredible from Oak, because after that slow swing, that back Y is still ready. It definitely, at the very least, it threw Eve off. There might have been a way to punish that right away, but that's easier said than done. Laszlo hits like a truck. You don't want to be risking taking a hit. Another double. And that's exactly why. If he hits you once, it's dangerous even for Gideon. B cut, interrupting Oak's attack. Oak throwing a bunch of attacks. And then he switches it up nicely with the Vineyard. Which I don't think Eve expected. I think Eve expected him to continue with that sequence. Nice B cut. That's the danger of getting so close to Gideon for Laszlo. It's not always a bad idea. It's just you're exposing yourself to some of those attacks. Eve switching it up again with those low attacks, going high-low. Tippy toe, but again, Oak staying just out of measure. Clash of Swords there. Both fighters with a nice positional game. Stab attempt doesn't work. Trying to hit the hand. A into B, but Oak is ready for it. Even again. Both of them threatening to land an attack here. Oak with a lunge initiates first. Stab attempt from too close. Oak punishes it instantly. That's what Oak does. Oak is now ahead just by 1. Chance of victory definitely there. Eve with a weird stance there. It's a Gideon bug, but he managed to fix it. There's a cut to the hand from Oak. Oak needs 1 more to make it 1-1. But Eve just goes straight for the lunge. He doesn't care about the risk that entails. He sees the opening and goes straight for it. And it was really good timing on his part. Oak wasn't quite ready. Eve again trying to initiate there. He's not afraid to scrap a little bit of Gideon. There's a cut to the left arm from Oak, though. That definitely did some damage. Eve needing to watch his stamina now. Oak sees a kill there, but unfortunately for him, Eve was able to single tempo him with the A cut. And it's down to the last flag. Eve just marching forward. He wants that push or a grab. One of those two things, but Oak moves away. That was really brave on his part. I respect that. Next a double somehow. I thought Oak had it. But it's a double. Crazy. I was gonna say Oak got it, but no, that's a double. There you go. Oak got it this time. He's probably very happy with that, considering what just happened, but it's all good. It's not Eve's fault. Just the animation looked strange. That's all it was. Obviously, he inputted a cut there. And we're down to the final fight. No matter what happens, this is the last round. Whoever wins here wins the whole thing. Love this final so far, guys. Keep it up. Some good adjustments from Oak. And we start with a double. Very appropriate between two amazing fighters who are evenly matched. Going low. Both fighters stay solid. Both trying to snipe each other just then, but nobody lands a hit at knee. And again, nobody's been hit, even after all of that. And a double. Love it. We're using every part of our body to fight. And it's another double. Oh. Leg spike. That's really unfortunate timing. I hope that doesn't continue. We're just getting into this intense fight. Eve with a bunch of cuts. Good exchange. But Eve sees that he shouldn't continue, otherwise Oak will probably punish him. A into B cut there. Oak moves back. Oak goes for that low lunge, something that he's been using a lot more of lately. Nice exchange. Very clean from both of these fencers. Very precise. There's a stab from Eve. He doesn't quite cancel into the follow-up, though. That could have been his. But he's got this clear stamina advantage now. Just has to avoid being hit. Oak backing off. Definitely the advantage is on Eve's side. Oak goes for that quick lunge to punish, though. That was beautiful. Oak with the first flag in this round. Almost sniping Eve, but Eve actually manages to land it instead because Oak whiffed and tried to recover, but could not present a threat in time. Eve with another flag. Two to one. Attacks there from both of them. A risky push attempt from Eve. That could have ended very badly. Bunch of cuts. And Eve scores another one that's decisive in such a close matchup. We know Oak can adapt, but it's still huge, I think, when they're so evenly matched that one fighter is getting such an advantage. Lunge again. That's a very effective move in this matchup. Gotta give Eve credit, because that's a move we haven't seen a lot of until recently, I don't think. That specific lunge that you can just fire out of nowhere. The tippy toe doesn't quite land. That was just all spacing. If Eve was an inch closer, that might have landed. Some feints from both of them. Oak goes for the lunge. Nice push from Eve, though. Maximum range. Beautiful defensive push. Bunch of attacks there from Eve, but not in measure. And that's important because he almost got punished. But he knows that. He's safe there. There's a push from Oak. Oak says, I can push too. There's the back Y after that lunge. Nobody's been hit, though. The chop canceled just in time as Oak nearly punished him. Snap cut. Belly lunge there. Nice. Coming down to the wire. Both fighters threatening to attack, but then they disengage. Stab from Eve. Doesn't follow it up, though, as it might have been ill-advisable, given the fact that Oak's defense was solid. B cut attempt from Eve. And there's the push, but Oak too far away, trying to snipe the hand. Doesn't quite land that either. Very high-level play from both of these players. Nice exchange, but there's the push. Oak backdashes just in time, though. That was amazing. And Oak with a big slash, but a bit too close, I think, for that. Eve seizing the opportunity, and he needs one more to win this whole tournament. Goes low. Oak also goes low. The stab, Eve on the attack, but Oak takes the hand right off. He will not allow you to make even a slight mistake. Eve was hoping to finish this right here and now, but that's not happening. It's down to the last flag. Oak will make him work for this one. YX there from Oak. Both of them have a nice series of attacks, threatening each other's openings, forcing both of them to stay mobile. Bunch of cuts from Oak. Some neutral cuts, and that's a double as Eve impales him, and Oak goes for a cut to the head. Switching stance there, Eve goes for a lunge. That has been a very good move this matchup, but Oak is ready this time. So is that move. The tippy toe slash barely missing. Eve has been so good with that move, but Oak has been moving just well enough to get out of the way some of these times. It's definitely been a move that Eve has been using a lot of, though, and for good reason. He's very good with it, good at switching up timing with it, throwing you off. Well, they got really close there for just a moment, but they didn't engage. But Eve goes in with that lunge again before Oak can respond, and he takes this whole tournament. And Eve has won the tournament. I'll end it right here. and to show you the results. So Eve with first place, of course, he's won the whole tournament. Oak with second place. Well done to Oak, by the way. That was an amazing performance on your part. I got third place, which I'm very happy with. And Lanch Connect, I gotta give you credit for fourth place. You've been fighting really well despite the connection issues you had. Luck got fifth. Info as well got fifth. And then obviously seventh and eighth right there, and that's just and then British Turk obviously couldn't participate. But still, I gotta give everybody here credit for the most part for good performances. Even Julian and 3C, you guys forced some elite players to play solid. You didn't mess around. You kept your fundamentals in order. The next step for you is just to make your game more complex and to keep labbing, to keep practicing, and that's how you'll get better with time. Great tournament though, guys. That final especially was worth the wait. And I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's end the stream here. Thank you all for keeping the community wholesome as well. Uh, we wouldn't be able to host these tournaments, and the community just would not be what it is without all of you showing up. So, what were you saying? Yeah, Chernobyl said never bet against Oak, and look what happened. Eve won. The complete opposite happened. But anyway, that was fantastic final, and I'll see you guys next time.